Hello, welcome to Soccerlens TV. I'm Andy Brattle, and of course, as always, we'll be looking back on the highlights from the weekend in European club football. We're going to start in the English Premier League, where Arsenal went to Bolton, which was, of course, Owen Coyle's first match as the new coach of Bolton at the Reebok Stadium. And Arsenal won that. They didn't have the new manager effect at Bolton. They played well. But nevertheless, Arsenal made it away with 3 points. Now, this is seen as quite significant, not only because Arsenal are now moved to within 3 points of the leaders Chelsea, but the fact that Arsenal have really struggled at Bolton before losing as many as they've won there at the Reebok, and it's something that they've done well to remedy. They always seem to find Bolton difficult opposition because they're a strong, physical, direct side, particularly under the reins of Sam Allardyce and Gary Megson. But it's something that Arsenal largely coped with. They rode their luck a little yesterday. So certainly Matt Taylor had some good chances to score from the home side, one particularly good one when it was just 1-0 to Arsenal. But nevertheless, Arsenal toughed it out, something that they've been accused of not doing before, and got the second goal on the break with Fran Merida, who's not really made much of an impact on the first team so far, despite showing a lot of promise, getting that important second goal. Of course, Arsenal play in the return fixture Bolton again in London this week, and if they win, they could go top of the Premier League on goal difference, although they would have played a game more than Chelsea. Now, Arsene Wenger said a lot about how his young side's really grown up, and this showed a lot in their performance at Bolton. But something else he said, an obvious point but a very important one, he admitted that if they're going to win the league, then Cesc Fabregas has to stay fit. This is very, very important. With the injury to Robin van Persie that's going to keep him out for most of the rest of the season, a lot of focus on how Arsenal maybe need someone extra in the striking department. Well, this may remain the case, but nevertheless it's Fabregas who really offers penetration despite being a midfielder. He did that in a tight game against Villa over the Christmas period, coming on to really important effect and providing a little extra quality and incision in that game. And he did the same with the first goal yesterday, a splendid 1-2 with Eduardo before striking Arsenal in front. So he really is key for them, although the almost newfound defensive stability, certainly newfound since they lost so catastrophically to Chelsea at the Emirates in December, a game after which me and everyone else wrote off their title chances, has been really important as well, with Thomas Vermaelen outstanding. Now, if we go across to Fabregas's country of origin, Spain, there was a really great derby on Sunday night between Valencia and Villareal, and Villareal have improved really well since a poor start to the season under their new coach Ernesto Valverde. Of course, he was always likely to hang in there despite that poor run, because it's a very patient club, not perhaps like Barcelona, Real Madrid, or even one of the Seville clubs, or Valencia. But really it was all about Valencia in this game. They showed what great quality they've got coming forward. We already knew that. Kiko, a bit unfortunate to give away the penalty for the second goal, because the offence actually occurred outside the box. David Villa scoring the penalty to make it 2-0, and Kiko being sent off, which he would have done anyway because it was a professional foul, even if just a free kick was being given for it. But nevertheless, a great opportunity for Valencia to show their offensive power, and Unai Emery has done a great job there as coach. Really, I think he's been the beneficiary of not having much money to spend. He's had to utilise what was previously a very bloated Valencia squad. Now it just looks a squad with really great options, and the competition is bringing the best out of some of the players, like Joaquin, for example. The competition with Pablo Hernandez has really brought the best out of him, and he's looking back to his best form. He was outstanding last night. Now, what Valencia are managing to do at the moment, moving within 3 points of Real Madrid in second, who lost to Athletic Bilbao at the weekend, and Valencia are managing to put a bit of daylight now, 5 points between themselves and the fifth placed team, and this is really, really important for them. We all know what bad financial trouble they're in, and they need to get into the Champions League if they're going to start getting the club back on a firm financial footing. Of course, they'll have to sell players when the season's up as well. But the Champions League is how they're really going to make money, with consistent qualification for that. And whereas the teams in the English Premier League, say Manchester City, Spurs and Aston Villa, have struggled to make the most of Liverpool's problems so far and struggled to really break away from them as much as they could have done. Valencia are certainly making the most of Sevilla's current problems to create that gap and get where they want to be. Now we're going to go to a couple of your questions. Thanks for sending those in. The first one is from Neil. Thanks, Neil. It says, tell us a bit about Chamakh and his future. Will he go to Liverpool even if they don't qualify for the Champions League? Well, of course, this is a rumour about the Bordeaux striker Marouane Chamakh, and talk that he could be very close to signing a pre-contract agreement to go to Liverpool at the end of the season. Of course, he is out of contract at the end of this season. He will stay at Bordeaux for the rest of the campaign. They're doing very well in the Champions League, and he's a key part of that, and he wants to stay before cashing in on a bumper payday. Now, whether that will be at Liverpool, I don't really know. Liverpool often play with one up top. Chamakh is used to being the one up top, but you know, you have to ask, would he play instead of Fernando Torres? Perhaps if they were to sign Chamakh, this would be a precursor to some sort of Torres departure, which of course would be a very lucrative thing for Liverpool and important with their financial problems. But with Chamakh being a free transfer, he can command a lot more wages and perhaps a big signing on fee than were he part of a normal move. So how Liverpool can afford this when, let's be honest, they can't even afford to sack Rafa Benitez, despite being in a very poor state in the league and in Europe at the moment, is really open to question. I see him ending up in the Premier League because he's got a very physical, aerially strong style, but I'm really not sure whether that will be at Liverpool and whether this would be the most prudent move for them either. Now, the second question we have says, we've heard a lot about Manchester United's debt this week. As a reference point, how much do Real Madrid owe to their creditors? That's from Sean. Thanks for that, Sean. Well, Real Madrid came out in September and said they owe 327 million euros. Of course, they've spent over 200 million euros on players in the summer, so they've got a lot for their money. Of course, we know they've got a terrific, really strong squad, arguably a stronger squad than Manchester United now. But of course, the distinction we really have to make here is the distinction between the way clubs are run in England and clubs are run in Spain now. Manchester United are owned privately, of course, by the Glazer family, whereas this isn't impossible with Real Madrid. They're a sporting society owned by the members, the supporters, and it's not as if President Florentino Perez has come in and bought the club, because that is not a possibility for him to do so. Therefore, we know a lot more definitively about Real Madrid's financial situation now. Perez has pledged that he's going to bring down the debt to 210 million by the end of the season. The banks obviously have faith in him doing this because obviously Real Madrid have a very high commercial profile. There's also fringe players that they could sell to cut the wages, and they could get stuff by doing well in competition as well, by doing well in the Champions League, for example. So Real Madrid are very, very marketable. Not that Manchester United aren't, but also to perspectivise this, not only does Perez have to make this commitment to really get the debt down, whereas the Glazers aren't answerable to anyone, but Real Madrid's debt is only a third of what Manchester United's reported debt is. So that brings us to the end of this week's show. I hope you enjoyed it. You can catch up with me on www.allornothingtv.net. I'll be talking about the Bordeaux-Marseille game, which was a big Sunday night game, on that later this week. You can also leave me questions here or on Twitter, twitter.com/Andy Brassel. A lot of football to look forward to this week, as always, so I hope you enjoy that, and we'll see you again this time.